Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your hosts Edward McQueen and April Garner.
Hey, good evening. You can put that coffee cup down now, Ms. Garner.
No coffee this evening. I'll be up all night. How are you doing?
Well, very well. Yourself over there?
I'm doing just fine. Had a long day. It was your typical Monday.
Hey.
Typical Monday. Yeah, I'm trying to tell you. I already know what I'm going to do after the show. I'm going to catch all the Z's after the show.
You're also going to catch some of these human traffickers.
You know what? We'll be more aware of what to look for and what's going on and who's out there helping us do that. So this is going to be some great information tonight. And I'm just ready for our audience to get into it, take plenty of notes, and learn more about what our guests are doing as a collaborative effort in the Horry County area, and even how they're even impacting Georgetown County, all across the Grand Strand, all across the state with their initiative. So joining us tonight. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say when we got the sheriff's office involved, we're gonna catch somebody.
Anytime we have law enforcement, you better beware. Be ready. Be ready. Exactly. So
Horry County Sheriff.
Horry County's finest. There you go. Yeah, well, we want to remind our viewers, first of all, thank you for joining us this evening. We really do appreciate it. I know it's storming and everything is going on, but if you just sit still and listen, you'll be okay. So we do appreciate those of you who are joining us tonight. If you have any comments or questions for our guests, please just post them in the comment thread on Facebook or YouTube. And we will share those comments and those questions with our guests. And of course, we hope that you are watching from Facebook, YouTube, or WCMagazine.net. We really appreciate that support. Just keep supporting us and let us know what you want us to talk about as we bring you community news, issues, happenings, all kinds of stuff. Brother Edward is always out in the field taking pictures and talking to people. So we got a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about.
A lot. Mm-hmm. A lot to talk about.
Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and bring on our guests for the evening. We actually have two people who have taken on an incredible endeavor here to make sure that we understand what is happening in the realm of human trafficking. And one of our guests, Shelby Wiley, is the CEO of Engaging Minds Services, Inc. And then we have, of course, as we mentioned, Horry County Sheriff's Department Captain Sherri Smith, who are both going to talk about what they do and how they do it together. So let me go ahead and bring into the stream both of our guests tonight. How are you, ladies?
Hi, how are you all doing tonight?
All right. Captain Smith was concerned about hearing the thunder in the background. That's okay. Everybody knows it's storming. We don't mind.
We don't mind.
Yeah.
That's a precursor to a great show this evening.
That's right.
Exactly. There you go. So,
Captain Smith, you look familiar.
Probably from the colleague meetings. You go to the colleague meetings.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You gave a very good presentation. That was very, very enlightening. Okay.
Thank you.
Same subject here, but we'll go ahead with that.
Yeah.
And Shelby, when I made the post that you were going to be our guest tonight, there were a couple of people who were like, "We love Shelby Carter Wiley," and I'm like, "I don't think I know Miss Shelby, but I'm getting to know you tonight, so that's a wonderful thing." And yes, Captain Smith, you do look familiar to me as well. But we want to go ahead and get into the show for the evening and talk about this topic that is important isn't even a strong enough word to describe it. It's critical. It's something that people need to be aware of because it's definitely happening, and it's happening more often than we know. And we're talking about human trafficking. And so we're going to ask our guests to introduce themselves, and then we'll start talking about what Ms. Wiley's services are all about and the collaboration with not only Horry County Sheriff's Office, but any other agencies that are helping with this effort to combat human trafficking. So Shelby, if you will, please introduce yourself to our viewing audience.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Of course, my name is Shelby Wiley. I'm the CEO of Engaging Mind Services Incorporated. I also serve on the Coastal Region Human Trafficking Task Force as the Interfaith co-chair, educator in Horry County, work at Conway High School as a virtual teacher this year. So I'm so happy to be on the show tonight.
That's awesome.
Good to have you.
Glad to be here.
All right, Miss Smith.
Yeah, so I'm one of those Shelby lovers. That's me right here. Because if you ask me who was the backbone, and that's Shelby Wiley right there. But my name is Sherri Smith. I am a captain with the Horry County Sheriff's Office, and I'm the chair of the Coastal Region Human Trafficking Task Force. That's a mouthful right there. Mm-hmm. And we serve both Horry and Georgetown counties because that's our judicial circuit. And so we serve both of those counties. And as everybody knows, when we talk about human trafficking or really anything on the Grand Strand, when you say Grand Strand, that encompasses anywhere from Georgetown to all the way to the North Carolina line at Little River, Conway, Loris, because a lot of people just encompass all of that as the Grand Strand. So we say that we serve both counties, Horry and Georgetown County. My passion is helping people, serving victims. I started out as a victim advocate down in Georgetown at the Georgetown Police Department, and sat on the board for a domestic violence shelter there, and also for our local rape crisis center way back then too. So that's just my passion. And when the Coastal Region Human Trafficking Task Force reached out to me and said, "Hey, we want you to be a part of it," I was like, "Yes, what can we do? What can I do to help?" So then Shelby, I met Shelby, and she's been a force to be reckoned with. And she has taken out the reins and just gone with it. And I really appreciate everything that she does in her committee. So they're the backbone behind this.
All right. Well, it sounds like you two are a force together. Extensive background, knowledgeable in the areas, and that's why we want to know more from you about what's happening. I know that I was in higher education, and our human services students at Horry Georgetown Technical College, they were always involved in the seminars or task force meetings and things like that, learning more about human trafficking every single day. And it was such a powerful subject for them. And they were working with some people who were well versed in the topic as well. I think it's the kind of thing that seems a little surreal to people sometimes. It's hard to believe that people are out there trafficking humans, what it actually says, what those words actually mean, and for various reasons. And I'm sure that you all will share with us the insights about the type of people who are targets and who's typically impacted, and why it's so difficult even to bring it all together and create some initiatives that will help to combat this issue. But let's start with Engaging Mind Services and the mission of the organization, and kind of segue into how you got involved with this part of the work that you do.
Yeah, I'll be glad to share that. I always like to begin with the why. Why do I do what I do? And my answer to that question is the reason why I do what I do is because at the age of 9 years old, I was trafficked. At that time, I didn't realize that it was actually trafficking. I just thought it was child abuse. But as I grew to learn more and more and more about human trafficking, because of the coercion and the fraud, I was trafficked at 9 years old.
My goodness.
And I know it impacted my life, not only through childhood, but it also carried over into adulthood. So that's the why behind why I do what I do. I've actually written 2 books, Mental Exoneration and Don't Touch My Golden Parts. But in the book, Mental Exoneration, I talk about my life story, about what I went through as a young person being trafficked and abused, even throughout high school. And in 2018, I had my book signing, and that was when I actually launched the nonprofit for Engaging Mind Services. When we first started Engaging Mind Services, we were just thinking about, okay, we're going to deal with child abuse because we heard about so much child abuse, even in the school systems, throughout the community. So we began with child abuse and mentorship. And we have a program at actually at Conway High School now called Rose, where we actually mentor high school girls, and we teach them and educate them about abuse and other issues that they may go through as teenagers. So that program is still going. In the fall, this fall, we're going to work with 4th through 8th grade students at the Boys and Girls Club. We're going to do a program entitled I Am Worth It. And it's a preventative program. We have to prevent our young people from being trafficked or abused at the very young age. Sometimes even we've noticed that it can start sometimes even at the very young age of 3 years old. So what do we do at Engaging Mind Services now? What do we transition to? We transition to human trafficking because it's so important that we service the victims of human trafficking. We talked about in our task force meeting that there were not a place where we had services for victims of human trafficking, nor did we have a place that we can actually house victims of human trafficking. So at our nonprofit, we're providing the resources for victims of human trafficking, such as counseling, medical care, education. You can get your GED or certifications such as your, if you want to be certified as a CNA, you can get that at our center. And we're working with Horry and Georgetown Technical College. And if any victim comes through our center, they can also get any degree they want from Horry and Georgetown Technical College free of charge. We also offer employability skills. We have resume writing, and there's mentorship. Now, what's that other goal? The other goal is providing housing and shelter for victims of human trafficking. There is not a bed available in Horry or Georgetown counties for victims of human trafficking. There's no beds at all. So our team has committed to ensuring that we have a place that we could house or shelter victims of human trafficking. And we're working on a project right now to make that happen. We have an opportunity to actually have 22 rooms, and that could equal to 44 beds if we do 2 beds per room. How can we do this? We do it through partnership with the community to make all the above happen. And that's through donations, volunteerism. Of course, if you volunteer working with victims, you have to be vetted and have that background check. But those are some of the things that we're offering at the center at this time. We also have what we call a survivor package. In that survivor package is a change of clothes, toiletries, anything a victim may need to take care of themselves. We give these bags to law enforcement. So if they're with the victim, after hours, they'll have a package that they can give them. We also give them to service providers, or we collaborate with service providers, and we work together to make sure that you have those packages in your car or in your building that you can readily assess for the victims of human trafficking. So those are some of the things that we're doing at Engaging Mind Services at this time.
Well, some of the things you're doing a lot, and I would be remiss if I didn't go back to your story, your truth, to talk about how this topic impacted you personally, to the point that you are actually now doing the work to make sure it doesn't happen to someone else. And that's a part of that. That servant leadership quality, that's a part of that. I'm sure it transformed you in a way that you just never thought it would. I can't imagine what it's like being 9 years old, much less 3 years old, or any age whatsoever, and being a part of that trafficking machine. I think a lot of people don't really understand what trafficking means. I know you're going to get more into it as we go into the show, but in general, can you just kind of set the stage, or at least create some context of what it can mean? Because in my mind, it's like, how do they get a hold of a 3-year-old? How do they get a hold of a 9-year-old? How does this even happen is the question.
Exactly, because when you think about human trafficking, it involves the use of force, fraud, coercion to obtain some type of labor or commercial sex act. So it's like trickery, and people think, and I hear that Captain Smith say this all the time. She says everybody thinks trafficking is someone being taken, like we watched the movie Taken. But believe it or not, trafficking can happen anywhere. It can happen in your neighborhood. It could happen in someone's home. It's so many different places that trafficking can take place. And that trickery, that fraud, that coercion, just like I was coerced. My brother was actually coerced to bring me to a place, and leave me while he went to get a bicycle. And it was amazing how this man used what we call grooming now, when they're grooming their victims. He got to know my parents. He got to know my brothers. And every Sunday when we walked to Sunday school, he was always at the corner store where we stopped, always speaking, always buying candy, always doing something, getting to know the family, to be that trustworthy person. And knowing that even during my time, that during that day, that we believed in whatever happened in a home stayed in a home. It's not like it is now. It's just a little different. But so I was cursed. It was he used that grooming process to trick me, so that he could do what he wanted to do, his abuse. And it's a lifetime thing. It stays with you forever. It's not like something that goes away after it happens, or when you become a teenager or an adult. No, it does not. So we just have to keep in mind that trafficking can happen anywhere.
Anywhere. And
Yes.
Okay. I know that you mentioned some of the services and programs that you offer through Engaging Minds, but talk a little bit more about the goals of the nonprofit and the programs that are offered. I can imagine that your mentoring programs were probably designed out of this necessity to make sure that our young people are aware of, things like this occurring and what they can do to either shed light on it or to combat it themselves. So tell us a little bit more about Rose, for example, and anything else that you're doing with the youth.
Okay, with the educating, we do that as a task force, as a team. We go out together, and that's one of the biggest things that we do in our community is educating people on human trafficking, giving them the tools that they need to be so their kids won't be trafficked. Because and I'm quite sure that Captain Smith will talk about it later, because even teaching them, taking those apps, that because kids they use those cell phones, that's a powerful tool. But when we can go in and we can teach the community and teach parents and students what they need to stay away from, because a lot of times they think they're talking to people they know, and guess what, they're not. So we're educating our youth, we're educating our parents, because that is one thing we must do, is educate our parents, because see, parents control those phones. Why not say they control and they buy them? If they purchase the cell phone first, give them a computer, that's their phone. They need to realize I have control of this phone. If they don't realize that, what's going to happen is what's happening all over the world. Our children are being coerced into all sorts of things, especially trafficking. And they don't know what to do in those situations when they get out there. So we're educating not only children, but the community on human trafficking. That's one of the biggest pieces that we do as a task force, and we do as Engaging Mind Services. Wherever we go, we are always sharing tips on how to combat human trafficking, how to eradicate it in your community, because those things.
I bet you have discovered trafficking in some of the most unlikely places. When you were talking about, thinking that you know people and you don't, and I'm sure that works both ways, that you think you're familiar with a person, maybe they know your family or whatever, and so they feel safe, but also places that you go to on a regular basis that should be safe havens for people, and especially our young people, and that's where probably some of this activity is occurring. So what are some things that parents can be aware of in terms of behaviors and attitudes in their young people, to even understand whether or not it could be happening to their children?
Well, you just said it, the attitudes, the changing behavior, that should be very noticeable. Hiding your phone. Sometimes when you walk in the room, if you see a child flipping their phone down every time, closing their computer down so that you can't see it, that's a red flag. That lets you know then as a parent, guess what? You need to be looking at that laptop. You need to be checking in to that Facebook. Matter of fact, kids shouldn't be on Facebook. Period. Really good. Some young kids are on it. And you have to make sure, you have to be very cognizant of what your children are being exposed to, at all times, because that's some of the things. Those are some of the red flags. Sherri, can you think of some of the other red flags for the young people?
That's the main ones that we always talk about, especially the computers and the cell phones. We always say, like, once you give that child that cell phone that has internet access, then you've just given them access to the world. You've opened them up to so many different things. So I always say it's the best thing that ever happened, but also the worst thing that ever happened. You got to have those parental controls on there. You've got to pay attention. If you don't pay attention, you've lost control already. If you don't set that from the beginning, what the parameters are, what the rules are, then you've lost it, and it's hard to get it back. Once you let it go and you go, oh, wait a minute, I got to get that back, then you're going to be met with resistance. But if you give that child that cell phone, and from the beginning you tell them these are the rules, this is how you this is my phone, I know the password, I know everybody that you're talking to, I'm going to check it, you're going to leave it downstairs, you're not going to take it to your room at night. If you keep up with those rules and you start them from the beginning, then there's no problem. But it's just like, anything else. You can't let a child go for so long and being able to running wild, basically, and do whatever they want to, and then go, oh, I'm going to try to rein you in 2 years later. That's kind of hard to do. You got to set it from the beginning. And that's what you have to do and know those apps. Oh my goodness, know those apps.
Yeah.
And I know you talk about young people being on Facebook, but even TikTok, which seems to be extremely entertaining. I even indulge in some TikTok every now and again, but I think that there's predatory behavior across social media. So people love to post and make videos and put themselves out there for the sake of likes, when they don't realize that that person who may be constantly connecting with you is someone who could potentially be dangerous. So parents definitely, as Josephine Burgos out of Charlotte, North Carolina says, they need to be vigilant about what they're doing. And there's a couple of questions that have come in that are kind of in the same I guess wheelhouse or whatever. There are questions about whether you're working with local churches and schools to disseminate this information, and do you go out to different communities and schools to talk about this kind of thing?
We do. Actually, I'm on the Coastal Region Human Trafficking Task Force. I'm the co-chair for the Interfaith Committee. So what do? I interact with churches throughout the counties. And we provided, even during COVID, we provided training. One setting, I think we talked to over 60 churches on Zoom, giving them tips, interacting with them, giving them an opportunity to serve, even in the community, by assisting us in whatever endeavor we were working on as it pertains to human trafficking. But we go to community centers. We've been to Bucksport. And we actually did a forum there. So we go everywhere pretty much. Sometimes we go do programs with youth. Judge Buchanan actually developed a program called Stay and Go. And we get an opportunity to share that program in many settings, not just for children, for adults also. So we are always willing to go into in your office even. I don't care if it's church, community center, your business. We've talked to, matter of fact, I'm going to Ripley's, believe it or not, at the end of this month and talk to their staff. So it's always many opportunities to talk to people in the community. And I do want to say to the audience, if you ever need us, we don't care if it's a small group, we'll bring a team in and we'll share with that team. And actually, we provide, if they need training on how do I spot human trafficking?
Right.
That's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, we've done groups as small as 3 before for a Mother's Morning Out group that just wanted more information. So we'll go talk to anybody. As far as schools go, I know Shelby didn't touch on it too much, but we can go in the schools, but we partner with the schools and we try to like talk to their teachers during their teachers meeting or do something after school. And we did one at a local school here at St. James High School. They had us in after hours for a parent teacher kind of night or parent student kind of night. And we did a whole program there. Shelby was there, Judge Buchanan was there. And we gave them a whole like hour-long program that went over and did 2 hours and people just coming up afterwards saying, how do we get involved? So we're trying to reach those young people, whichever avenue we can get to them through, we want to talk to them.
Mm-hmm. Dana Armstrong watching tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. And she asked how the public can be in touch with you. And so I put up your Engaging Mind Services website. You can certainly be in touch with Shelby through that website. And of course, she's connected obviously to Captain Smith and other members of her team and other agencies. So make sure you all jot that down, that website, and pass it along as well so that people can learn more about what this organization is doing and all the collaborations. Priscilla Fuller also asked, how do we get this information out to the public more? So how can the public help you to communicate what you're doing to other people?
Well, we're sharing, we'll share it with you. You can share it on your website. If someone else have a website, just, ask us and we'll be glad to share that information with you. And also, if you've noticed throughout the community, you probably noticed these posters up in the community in different businesses regarding human trafficking. And there's one right there. So we are always out providing information. We can provide more information. That's the goal of our task force, and also Engaging Minds is to get into as many businesses, many homes as possible. And I tell you, we need to get in front of the parents more.
Yes.
So if you have an opportunity for us to talk with parents, I don't care if it's a small group, please let us know. We'd be glad to do that because, a lot of times parents are not aware of what's going on in their communities. And, when we think about human trafficking, though, a lot of times we think it's in an area where we don't live.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the richest neighborhoods to the poorest. I mean, they're everywhere. So we need to make sure that we are communicating to our community what's happening in the area of human trafficking. What do you need to be out on the lookout for? When you see for example, an older man with a young girl, and something looks a little fishy, what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
You need to, when you see something that's serious, say something. You need to call the hotline if you feel like there's something going on. You need to memorize that number, that 888-373-7888. You need to memorize it so you can call and you can report it, because all it takes is a report. We just recently, 2 weeks ago, had somebody in the community. What did they do? They made a report. And we followed through on the report, and sure enough, there was something to it. Of course, we can't go into all that now, but it was trafficking, just because somebody saw something and they said something. Mm-hmm. So we've got to get the community involved in what we're involved in, because if we want to keep our kids safe, we want to keep our community safe, and because we think it's just kids, but guess what? A trafficker, they don't care about it being a kid. Your grandmother.
Oh my goodness.
Because they can use that person. If you look there, I'm being serious though.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They can use them over and over and over and over again. The drug you sell is gone, right? That one time, but that victim can be used over and over and over again. So it's a business. They're making billions of dollars off of people. It's modern day slavery. It's what it is. That's what we're involved in. We can't take it lightly. We've taken it lightly too long. This is serious. Parents need to hear this. This is a serious deal. Okay. You have to know where you can't even allow your kids to go in the yard and play now.
You got to be careful.
Type of supervision. You can allow your teenagers to go to the mall, hanging out by themselves. No, not without supervision. You need to know where they are at all times, because all it takes is a split second.
That's right.
Somebody can talk to your child online, and befriend them. They're grooming them, and they get them away by themselves, and they're gone, and you don't know where they are. That's why we have so many runaways in this city, in this county. We don't know where the kids are. Why? Because they're communicating with people outside of the home.
Mm-hmm.
So Captain Smith, what laws are there in place now to make it very punishable for the perpetrator, or whenever someone is guilty of that?
So
are there strong laws to act as a deterrent? Do you think the laws are strong enough?
Well, the laws are strong. Yeah, South Carolina has one of the best human trafficking laws in the United States. It's one of the best ones that we have. I mean, in the United States is good, and we use our federal laws, but the state laws are good. The problem is finding them and getting a victim to cooperate with us to make that arrest. So we always say we have to use a victim-centered approach. So we have to find that victim, get to that victim, get the victim the needs that they need, he or she needs.
Right.
Once we do that, then we'll be able to start, as law enforcement, making our case, because we can't build a case without the help from the victim. We can there's some things circumstantial and get some other things from without the victim, but we have to have that victim's cooperation. So without that, and that's what the trafficker knows. They know that we need that victim help, and they will make the victim not trust law enforcement or even trust people that are trying to help them, even for nonprofits, because they make them feel like it's their fault. Like, you're doing this willingly. I'm not forcing you. You can walk out that door anytime you want to, but it's just like any other thing. It's control, it's power. So even though we think, oh, well, you could just leave anytime you want to, but they don't think, and they don't know. They know they can't leave. They have to stay there because of either prior threats of violence, or they're threatening to get somebody else in their family involved in it. There are all kind of different reasons why victims stay. And one of them is because they believe that we won't believe them, that we'll never believe them. We're going to arrest them. We don't want to help them. And they're doing this, on their own, but that's not true. And so we do have some good laws. We've got to work together with the victim.
There's a little bit of feedback that I'm hearing, and can you all hear the audio?
Yeah, I'm not real sure what it is.
Where it's coming from. Okay, we'll just continue. One thing that I want to ask Captain Smith, how prevalent is trafficking along the Grand Strand in particular? I know that our area, we have a lot of visitors. We have a lot of transient traffic. We have a lot of, we used to have a very high population of exchange students coming in. And, is that one of the reasons why the Grand Strand area is probably like a hot spot for that type of thing?
Well, I don't necessarily think that we have more trafficking than anywhere else, because trafficking is happening everywhere across the country. What I've seen more of personally are runaways, and that's runaways from our county and people coming to our county. So it's kind of an equal share right there. We have a lot of it. We just have to find it. We got to have people that are vigilant enough to call and make that call, because these young, and I've seen more young women. I haven't seen any men, and I know there are men out there. So when I talk, I'm going to talk more about women, because that's what I have experience with. These young women, they don't think that there's any other way. And what Shelby earlier was saying about the victims being taken, people think that they are being kidnapped and then taken away. But actually, these young people are being groomed, and they're going to these traffickers. They're going to them. And so when we as law enforcement, when we pick up a runaway, we have to be vigilant and ask, hey, why are you running away? Because there's only two reasons: they're running from something or running to something. And we have to figure out what that is. So there's some kind of bad situation they're running from, or something that they're running to, or someone that they're running to. And so that's what I've seen more along in our county. And like I said, they're both from within our county and from outside of our county. I think people think that they can come to different places along the interstates, along crowded beaches, things like that, just because I think they can get lost and not as noticed as in other areas. However, I will say, Horry County has ranked number 1 in the reporting of human trafficking for the last 2 years. Now, I think that's a good number. Shelby and I always talk about this. This is a positive number because that means people are doing what we ask them to do. They're calling that human trafficking hotline. That's based on the number of calls made into the hotline, not on the number of cases. So I think that's real important when people think about Horry County being number 1. It's number 1 for a reason. That means law enforcement's doing their job. That means our nonprofits are doing their job. And that means our citizens are doing what we ask them to do. They're calling that number, because I always say I would much rather go out and investigate and it be nothing than not investigate at all and it be something. So we want people to call.
Pre-show, you were talking about a current case that you were going to talk about. Yeah, can you share that information?
Right. So I'm sure and I'm going to have to read a little bit of it. But last week, I think it was last Friday, they released a press release, the U.S. Attorney's Office did, and it was a joint investigation between the Sheriff's Office, Myrtle Beach Police Department, our State Law Enforcement Division, and Homeland Security. And they actually indicted 4 individuals for human trafficking or possession of child pornography or conspiracy to commit sexual trafficking. And it spanned from Arizona all the way to Myrtle Beach to Surfside. And it involved the arrest of 4 individuals. One was a 25-year-old male from Arizona. One was a 36-year-old male from Myrtle Beach, a 28-year-old male from Surfside, and a 44-year-old male from Surfside. And basically, the one man from Arizona, the 25-year-old male, he misrepresented himself as on social media to lure other women into the sex trafficking ring. So he groomed them, he promised them, made everything that we talk about is what he did. And then when he got to this victim, then he forced her he promised her with love and affection. They groomed the minor to fall in love with him. And then he used threats to keep her involved. It says, made the victim engage in violent sexual acts with adult men that the victim didn't want to do. And he used social media platforms to make the victim vulnerable to adult males. So that was just a recent case that spanned several months of work, but it came out on the good where they ended up arresting 4 individuals, and it all started from a social media post. So that's pretty good, but that was people being vigilant. Someone called that in actually and said, I think something's wrong. You need to take a look at this. And it took someone in our office taking a second look, and then we involved in the people in our task force. And that's what it's all about. We have to work together as a collaborative effort, because it's not just right here in Horry County. It's not just right here in Georgetown County. It's not in the state of South Carolina. This went across the country all the way to Arizona. So we have to collaborate and work together to make these indictments, to get these people charged and get them in jail. And they are in jail today. And right now, and we're getting the victims help. And that's the most important part. So we want the people in jail, but we want to get these victims in and know that it's not their fault, and that there are people out there who care and want to help them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that, first of all, that was some very powerful information, and it just lets us know that, we all have to be involved. So yes, your phone call matters, and, any tips that you can give via the hotline or, contacting one of you, it matters. It could save lives. And so, that's definitely great work that you all are doing, as a collective effort. And hopefully more people, after listening to both of you tonight, will just be more aware of their surroundings. You know, they'll be more cognizant of what could possibly happen. I know every time I go to a certain big box retailer whose name starts with a W, I'm always nervous when I see little children just running around. You know, they're in the toy section, mama's in produce. Or if, you know, they're approaching the self-checkouts, and instead of having the children in front of them, the children are behind them. I saw one little girl the other day. She couldn't have been any more than maybe 5 or 6 years old. And she just kind of wandered off from mom. And I tapped the lady on the shoulder and I said, I think your daughter just walked away from you. She's, you know, she's busy scanning eggs, and someone could have easily just walked up and picked that little girl up and walked out of that store. And so you're right. You know, as it was said before, we all have to be vigilant. When you go in the store, there's nothing more important than knowing where your children are. When you're anywhere, there's nothing more important. And even if you're not with them, like you said, at any age, there's nothing more important than knowing who they're dealing with, what they're doing at all times, so that we can, you know, combat this type of thing. So I muted everyone because there was I'm getting plenty of text messages about the feedback. So if you'd like to speak, and I'm going to actually unmute Shelby because I know she has something she wants to add to this, and I'll mute my Shelby. Do you want to add to this conversation, this part of the conversation?
Well, I do want to say that that collaborative effort is so critical in what we do, working together as a team. We work with service providers all throughout Horry and Georgetown counties and law enforcement. I mean, we have to work as a team in order to make this happen. So it takes all of us working together. And I'm pretty big on leadership. So I believe in teamwork, you know, because it's not about one organization. It's about all of us. It's our community. So how are we going to keep our children safe in our community? What can we do as a community? And I always say that it's so important. So I don't know. I want you all to support our events that we have coming up. I shared it with April. We do have a brunch coming up April 14th. At 11 o'clock, and the information is on the flyer. You can go on Eventbrite and actually type in Engaging Minds, and the event will come up. We're going to have a brunch and a fashion show. And why are we doing this? We're doing this because we've got to have housing. We must provide housing for our victims, because if, you know, I think about, you know, when they're rescued, you know, where do they go? Do we have a house in Horry County, Georgetown? No. We need to have some place that we can send the victims. And as a community, we owe it to the victims to work together. So please support our event, the brunch. It's going to be April 14th again, 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Have a fantastic fashion show. Have a group coming from Raleigh, North Carolina, that's going to actually present for the fashion show. And yes, the tickets are $40 each. That includes your meal, and also we're going to do silent auctions. We have a week to Hilton Head Island. We have a week to Colorado that we're going to give away during the auction. So please come and support it. If you know other people, your friends, your colleagues, make an effort. That donation will go towards housing for victims of human trafficking. And thank you so much.
There's another comment here. Let us know how the community can support or help with the survivors packet and where to send donations. So is it all on your website where they can donate?
Yes. Yes, it is. It's a donate button on our website that they can just donate through that donate button at the top of the website.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Brother Edward, do you want to chime in?
I wanted to ask, you mentioned that earlier. You mentioned the nation of Costa Rica. Miss Wiley. I can't. You got to unmute us. Okay. Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. You mentioned the country of Costa Rica as an origin. Did you say that?
I didn't.
Oh, okay. Sound like you said Costa Rica.
No.
I don't know. No,
okay. I didn't. We have clients that came from everywhere, but.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, well, I didn't mention Costa Rica particularly.
Okay. All right, my error on that. So
that's okay. We can't hear you, April.
Hannah McIver Sand says, I commend everyone for all that you're doing to inform the community. And it is great work that you're doing to make sure that everyone understands how important this topic is and how critical it is. And I know I've learned a lot tonight, and I'm sure that everyone viewing the program, and trust me, don't go by the little view count at the top of the screen, top left. We have plenty of viewers out there. They're texting me, they're texting Brother Edward with comments and questions that are similar to what's in the stream. But, you know, please continue to do the work. And we pray that you all are strengthened to do this every day, especially you, Shelby, because you're doing it from a very personal space. And, you know, until you shared your story with everyone tonight, I didn't even know that. I haven't, you know, spoken with you on the phone. And so I think that that also sheds light on what it means to really be able to pour yourself into others, even though you've been hurt and wounded. And typically when you're able to do that, it's because you don't want anyone to feel the same kind of pain that you felt. So, you know, it's a tremendous effort, and I'm sure that the community will get behind you. I'm sure that World Community Magazine will do whatever we can to help. Brother Edward, I believe we need an article or 2 or 3 for the magazine.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you have
this is a critical issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so if you have some information and any of our social media platforms, we'll be more than happy to help. And Captain Smith, thank you as well for being a part of this. Okay, I didn't mean to. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you for allowing me to be a part of it. You know, it's all about education and awareness and helping people. I did see someone in one of the comments, but Snapchat should be banned. And I kind of chuckled because I kind of agree sometimes it should be banned. But I do want to leave it with the parents. If you want more information about internet safety, there's a website called Internet Safety 101. And it'll give you everything you want to know about what your child's doing on the internet, how to talk to your child from elementary school age all the way up to college age. It'll give you all those little acronyms that the kids like to use. So like one of them would be, you know, BRB, be right back, or POS, parent over shoulder, that kind of thing. So it'll give you a little clue about what all these little acronyms mean. Because like I always told Shelby, the only one I use, LOL, laugh out loud. That's the only one I know.
Right.
But this little
Is that what it means?
website, yes. So that Internet Safety 101, it really does give the parents and the children a lot of information. So use that and let that be your guide, because that's where they're getting to our children. They're not meeting them. Some of them will meet them in the mall and places like that. But for the most part, it's online. So, and there's not one that's more prevalent than the other. I mean, it's Facebook, it's Instagram, it's Snapchat, it's TikTok, it's all of them. Omegle. It is, if they will figure out a way to get to your child or get to you, they will. I mean, they just did it to, an adult. She called me the other day and she was like, hey, I gave this woman my social security number. And I was like, why'd you do that? Because she was so lonely. She wanted someone to talk to. And this person just reached out to her through Facebook Messenger and said, hey, do you want to be friends? And it just started just like that. And she wanted to be friends. And if they will do that to an adult, just think of how a young person is. I mean, just, hey, you look pretty. I like your pictures. I like the way you dance. I like the way you sing. Everybody's looking for that attention, and it just takes one vulnerable person to get you.
Absolutely. So, Captain Smith, can you tell everyone about Coastal Region Human Trafficking Task Force on Facebook? We have a banner here asking them to follow that page on Facebook.
Yes, please follow us on Facebook. Our public education and awareness co-chair, Anna Strickland, she does an amazing job of putting things up every day. So there's some kind of awareness or some kind of statistic or something you can be involved in. She does it every single day. And then the third Wednesday, is that right, Shelby, of every month, we do like a Facebook Live. It's a quick 2-minute training or presentation or some kind of information that we try to provide for everybody. So it could be a law enforcement officer one month. It could be Shelby one month. It could be a victim advocate talking about services 1 month. But if you'll follow our page, you will get some information on human trafficking every single day. There's something new up there every single day. She does an outstanding job. And if you want a presentation or a training through our task force, you can contact Shelby, or you can contact the task force through our Facebook page, because she answers those messages. She sends them to me. She sends them to Shelby. She's really does a really good job of getting our message out there, our word out there.
I know that there are some coordinators of a few summer initiatives who are watching, and they've already said that they're going to be in touch with you because they're working with the young people this summer. And it would be great to wrap up some of the summer camps and the summer initiatives with a presentation for the young people. So I could tell you can be on the lookout for Marjorie McIver. She is going to call you and get you involved. If she doesn't call you, her daughter probably will. But and I'm sure there are others who will want to reach out to you, and we'll, continue to help spread the word as well. So Shelby, I'm going to give you, a part of the last word. Again, engagingmindservices.org for more information about your initiatives and whatever you'd like to say about that website. Definitely, we want you all to support, donate to this cause. It doesn't matter. If you got $5 on it, she can use that $5. Okay.
$1.
That $5. So, right, brother Edward?
5 cents either.
No, five that wave in the air. Okay. Definitely let's support this particular organization and the initiative here, because, what I'm encouraged by is the collaboration. This is how the community works together. This is how law enforcement and other organizations must work together in order to eradicate some of the criminal activity that's going on in the area. So, and they appear to have a very good handle on what needs to be done in order to make it happen. So, Shelby, anything else you want to say about Engaging Mind Services and your mission?
I just want to say we're available. Like you just kind of piggyback on what you just said. We are available if you need us for anything. I do want to share my phone number that you can reach me at any time, 843-438-4550. If you want to volunteer, if you want to donate, if you need more information, you need someone to come schedule to do a training, just call me, 843-438-4550. That's our office number. Just give us a call and we'll get back in contact. If you see something and you're afraid to even call the 800 number, call us. That's what we're here for. At the center, we have so much going on. If we have interns working day in and day out to make sure that we provide the services for victims of human trafficking. It's all about the victims, making sure that they're safe. And we must community, and I'm going to say this again, as a community, we can make sure that they have a safe place to go. But it's going to take the entire community working together to make this happen. If you want to get on board, just call me, email me, and we can talk about it. And we can work together as a team. Thank you so much for all you do.
You're welcome. There was one other question. Of course, we cannot end this broadcast without bringing up Sister Joella McQueen's comment. Of course, that's Brother Edward's better half. A powerful broadcast tonight. Do you provide services to other counties in South Carolina?
Sure, we do. Because we go to other counties all the time and we present. Yes.
All right, awesome. And then more comments about the great information tonight. So we'd like to thank everyone for joining us. And Brother Edward, of course, you have the last word on the show. What would you like to say about tonight's show and also to the community?
I wish I was rich. I would make sure that you all always existing and serving the community like you do right now. And just going to different venues and using every venue that's possible to get this word out, because I don't think we can say how strong enough how critical this issue is. I've seen Captain Smith make some presentations in a number of other areas, and this is the first time for you, Ms. Wiley. But this is critical. So we have to kind of keep updated, and wouldn't be I would be remiss if we didn't say that we would like to have you back on again at a later time to give us an updated information, because the things are changing and you all have to adapt to those changes in terms of how you deal with situations. And you can certainly convey them to our audience and let them digest all the new things that are happening. As I say, one thing about how technology has improved this, but have you all explored, Ms. Wiley, the idea of tagging in some kind of way small children so that electronically you know exactly where they are by way of GPS?
We have not tagged them, but I will say the sheriff's office, through our Offender Watch program, through our sex offender website, is called Virtual Safe Neighborhood. You can sign up for that. It's a free app. And if you put your child's information in, their telephone number, their email address, all of that, if wherever your child is. So like for mine, I have 2 children that are in college, and I tried this out. I put in their location where they are. I put in their cell phone numbers, and then I clicked on them to see where they were. And it showed me all the sex offenders that are around where they were at the time. So it doesn't matter where they are. And in this database that we have, there are over 750,000 sex offenders in this database from across the country. And if you pay the premium, which is like $9 a month, I believe. Now that part is free. The location services are free. But if you want to go the extra mile and pay the little bit extra, you can put in their social media accounts, their email accounts, their phone numbers. And if a sex offender contacts your child, it will let you know. So we have gone a little bit. It's not tagging, but almost like tagging there.
Well, we can't discount that yet. It might happen.
Yeah.
It might happen. So, well, thank you all so much for being so enlightening today. And April, thank you very much.
Yes. Well, I have to give a special shout out to Marvin Neal, because he's the one who connected Shelby and I. And so that's how you work across counties to get this information out, right? That, exactly. So we definitely need to make sure that he's aware that we're thankful to receive this information tonight. And again, it was a pleasure having you on here, even though the topic was, a bit tight. It's the kind of thing that we have to talk about. That's why we said guiding through difficult conversations about human trafficking and even child abuse and some of the other things that are, underlying themes for this particular topic. So thank you, Shelby, once again for sharing your truth. And I'm sure we'll all be working together again real soon.
Absolutely. Ms. Wiley, we will be getting back with you regarding collaboration in the magazine. So to make sure that this word fully gotten out. Okay.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much.
All right. All right. And if there aren't any other questions, I'm going to put up the last couple of comments and I'm going to roll us on out, Brother Edward. So next week, we will have a show next week, and please stay tuned for the promo once we've confirmed our guests for next week. And again, if you have a show topic that you would like for us to explore, please be in touch with us. And you can find the latest issue of the World Community Magazine on the World Community Magazine website at wcmagazine.net. Also want to give a special shout out to all of the young people who are enrolled in the Summer Reading Initiative. Yes, it's awesome. We are reading Stella by Starlight this summer. And last summer we read Ghost Boys, and now we're reading Stella by Starlight. I finished the book on Saturday, and I was like, wow, this is really good. I want to read it again. And the kids also participated in some drone workshops that were held this past week, and want to send a special shout out to Marlo Frazier and Maurice Simpkins, who, as you know, is a former NFL football player and an IT business owner, and was here in the Horry County area and Georgetown County areas conducting these drone workshops for the young people. And I understand that it was absolutely amazing. So that's how you change lives.
Yeah, you have to attend one. You have to do that. It's something else.
Yeah, so we'll continue to try to bring you more good stuff like this. But until then, everyone, please have a great week and stay safe. It sounds like the storm's over. Is the storm over?
It is.
Okay, all right. We talked it away. That's good. All right.
But it's coming back tomorrow, so.
Brother Edward, let us have a moment. Oh, it's coming back tomorrow. Yeah, we got some storms all around the region. I tell you.
That's what's projected anyway.
Okay. All right. Well, everyone, yes, please remain safe.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
Nice to see you.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner.